Excited to have our video game project going. The framework for this, real quick, here is that the Video Game Hall of Fame, which is a small section of the Strong Museum in New York, in Rochester, New York, has a World Video Game Hall of Fame. They have all sorts of interesting exhibits and stuff to look at there. They also induct certain games every year for the Hall of Fame. They've only been nominating video games since 2015, so their Hall of Fame is small, rather small right now, but it is an interesting one with lots of and here's the view of the inducted games. You can go to this site if you want to. You can see games that they've already inducted or games that they've already put into the Hall of Fame. So kind of just see a list of these here. However, this shouldn't be a precursor to you. So, I mean, you may look at this and say, oh, well, it's already in the Hall of Fame. That means it must be great. Not necessarily. Like, maybe not. But the video games that are in here, I'm sure the ones that we have listed on our list that are not quite in here yet. Let me pull that up here as well. Oops. So I've got a list for you, and it's also going to be on my teacher page. But you can see the list of games that are eligible on here. That you can choose from, all of those games right there, and they'll also be listed on my Schoology page as well. But what they want to know is, what is the most influential game of all time? Influential can mean a lot of things. It could mean the best gameplay. It could mean the best graphics. It could mean the best marketing campaign. It could be the best online experience. It can be whatever you want it to be. You just have to sell it. You have to sell the idea of why your game is more influential than another game. I'm going to do that in a minute here. I'm going to show you why Cyberball 2072 is more influential than Field Runners, which is what my opponent. So those of you, if it's your first time to do this project with us, you are going to be picking a video game, and you're going to have a team that you're going against, and you'll have to say why your video game is more influential than their video game. And I'm going to give you that speech here in just a minute so you can see how that works as well. But just an example, here's the inductee since 2015 for the Hall of Fame, and you've got to figure out which game in the history of video games is the most influential. So let me close those down here. Close that down as well. All right, so this is going to be your, this is the way it's going to look for you when you go on there. Please be aware that the only things you change are the things that are in red. Okay, so if you see red, you change it. If you see it in black, don't change it. Just leave it. And I'll show you what I mean by that. But a lot of times people come in here and they're like, www.youtube. Whatever. Don't do that. You don't type. And if you see black, don't type. If you see black on here, if you see red, type. That's where you need to make changes. So you can see video game's going to go there. I make this like paint by numbers. Very, very, very easy. Also, all of the pictures on my slide will need to be changed. So if you get up and give your speech about Tecmo Bowl and you have a Cyberball picture here, then that's not going to be right. You've got to make sure you change my picture as well. Also, your font needs to be the size 22. This is my high school baseball number, 22. So your font can never be smaller than 22. So if you come on here and be like, our game is amazing, and then all of a sudden you change the font size to 12, for whatever reason, it's going to look funny. I'm also not going to be able to see it from the back of the room. So make sure that you stay size 22 font. Change that back, and you're going to give me 4 facts here, just any 4 facts. In fact, I went to the Wikipedia page for Cyberball and just wrote in 5 facts that I found out about it. And you can use any 4. You don't have to use mine. You can use any 4 you want. Why is your game so influential? You're going to make 3 arguments. Your argument's going to go here. Remember, keep size 22 font. You're not going to write anything over here. There's going to be somebody new to this class that's going to say, it shows our game is amazing, yay. Okay, you're going to do that, and you don't write anything over here because it's black, okay? So this right here, the reason why this is done like this is called an impact statement. So you're going to give your argument on why you think it is, you're going to show the video, and then you're going to come over here and you're going to say, so what that video showed us about our game is, and that is where you crystallize. That is where you're spoon feeding your judges. That is where your judges are getting to know exactly. They don't have to infer anything. They don't have to figure it out. What did your video mean? Why was your video important? They don't have to. You're going to tell them this. This is called sales. This is called persuasion right here when you do this. This is introing the idea. This is providing evidence to show why you're legitimate and why what you're saying is true. And this is putting it all together and giving them the importance of it. And you're going to do that on every single one of these. Now, one of your group members is going to be the persuader. And that's what this speech is right here. I'm sorry, the opener. The opener first. And you're going to do this on all of these. Now, this third one right here, you have to provide an article. And again, you don't type anything in here. You're just going to provide an article, and then you're going to talk about what that article showed us. I like videos for the most part. And by the way, I'm going to do my videos off of YouTube up here, but you do not want to do that because there may be ads that show. If an ad shows during your presentation, you lose a point. And there's only 30 points total in the whole presentation. If you go to show your video and it stalls and it doesn't play, you lose a point. So what you want to do is go on, and the other people in the class will show you, is you want to make this big screen, and you want to do what I'm doing right now, which is to screen record and have it so that you can just play it. You also want to make sure that your teammate has all of your videos as well. Here are all my videos. I've got 3 videos ready to go. I've got an article, and I've got 3 more videos right here. But these are all on YouTube, so you don't want them. What I normally would do is to put them over here, make them so that they are a video that's already been recorded, and you don't have to rely on the internet. If you get up to play it and it shows an ad, or the video doesn't play because the internet is slow, you lose a point for each of those things. So you might delay, lose a point. Then you show an ad, lose a point, and so you don't want to do that as well. So, okay, and by the way, here is the scoring rubric. It's also on my Schoology page here too. So you can see here if you have an error on your PowerPoint, like if you misspell something, so if you don't capitalize the name of your game. Also, we'll talk about this a little bit more, where you have to have questions ready to go. So when Q&A starts, you've got to ask the other team questions. We'll talk about that as well. But your video has to be ready. Okay? You can't have any kind of errors on your evidence, commercials, any of that stuff. If you go to show your article and your article won't pull up, that's an error. Enthusiasm. You've got to speak with enthusiasm about your topic. You can't get up and just be like, I'm doing this project and I hate this game and I don't want to be in this class. Well, you're gonna lose points for your entire team. So please make sure that you are enthusiastic about what you're doing, trying to sell it. You work on time. You guys have already turned in you will, when you go to prep your speech, you will be turning in your Google slide to me. And that make sure that you guys are all on time for that, and that you're giving impact statements. So like I said here, this is an impact statement. If you give me the reason, give me the argument, and then you show me the video and you skip this, you lose a point. You have to come back to this and say, this is why this is important. Here's where the article goes, and then when you get here, you say, now I'm open for questions. And most of the people who are watching this have already gone through this in my class. You already know, and so you need to make sure your teammates, and if it's your first time doing this, believe me, there's some grace. I'm going to be nice to you about this and kind of help walk you through it your first time, especially the first people to go. Here's the persuader. And again, only fill in things that are red. If you see it's white or black or any other color, you don't change it. So make sure you change this. My game, and I'll show you mine in just a second as well. Here are the persuader slides. All 3 of the persuader slides are going to have videos. There's no articles. They all have an argument. They all have evidence, meaning the video you're going to show, and they all have an impact statement, which is going to tell us why what you're saying is important, and they're also going to be open for questions. The easiest speech to give is the closer, and the closer speech is reviewing 3 arguments that were previously made. So I don't want any new arguments here. You as a closer should be talking with your opener and your persuader to figure out what 3 arguments are the best, because this is like the closing argument for an attorney. When an attorney gets up and they're trying to present a case, they provide witnesses, they provide evidence, they provide all this stuff, but then when they get to their closing statements, all they're doing in their closing statements is saying, here is why you're going to be, ruling guilty or not guilty, or in this case, this is why you're going to be voting for our team. You're going to be putting your arguments in here and then impacting them as well. So there's no evidence on the closer, but there is an argument and an impact, and so you want to make sure you do that. This speech right here is typically about a minute to a minute and a half. It's very short, it's very easy, so you want to rotate that throughout the semester. Who is your closer? If you only have 2 people in your group, one of your people must be the opener, one of your people must be the persuader, and then you guys can paper, rock, scissors for who's going to be your closer. Okay? All right, so here is my speech. I'm going to close that down so I don't use it. All right, so our most influential video game project, we chose the video game Cyberball. Oops, sorry, let me get up to the top here. We chose Cyberball, and Cyberball is a video game where it's 4-on-4 robot-based football, and it's an incredible game. Here's an example of what it looks like. See, my quarterback might explode because he's smoking now. He got hit. Incomplete pass. Okay, that's an example of what it looks like. And the reason why we chose this video game was because Cyberball was revolutionary at its time. It was, you didn't have 2 cabinets like this side by side where you couldn't see the other team's plays. Typically, both people would be on one side, and I could see my opponent picking a pass play, so I knew to pick a pass defense or whatever. But Cyberball changed all of that. It made 2 separate cabinets so that you had one team over here and one team over here, which also meant that for us to play a game, it was 4 quarters to play for 4 quarters, 4 little quarters dollars wise, or $1 to total play a game, and times 4 people. So you would have $4 a game being played. So these machines were very profitable. 4 random facts about Cyberball that you probably should know is, number 1, it was created in 1988, which was in the prime of Mr. Simpson's video game time. I was in 8th grade when this game came out, and it was at Wonderland. It was a place down in Portland where we would go. And it's a 7 versus 7 robot football game, which just boggled our minds. We just absolutely loved it. You had 3 eligible receivers, you had a running back. It was just a lot of fun. It was not just a cabinet-based game. They also released it to the Sega Genesis, the Atari Lynx, and I currently play it on my PS2 at home. And I'll show why maybe this was they could have done so much more with this, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But it has a really cult following. I went to an arcade in Denver a couple years ago, and they had a Cyberball machine there. And the coin operator there told me that it was like, I went up to play it, and there were people already on it, and I had to wait for my turn. And she said that it was constantly a wait there, especially amongst football players. She said football players absolutely love Cyberball. It was the prerequisite to like NFL Blitz and some other games like that. Okay, so why was this game so influential? Like I said before, it's a 4-player playing one football game was revolutionary.
In this review, I'm going to talk about the arcade version and then talk about the Sega Genesis port. Cyberball is a futuristic 7-man American football game, but instead of humans, it's robots of different sizes, speeds, skills, and more. The year is 2022, and the game has changed quite a bit. Instead of standard downs, an explosive ball has 4 settings: cool, warm, hot, and critical. You can defuse the ball by crossing the 50-yard line or change of possession, by either scoring a touchdown, interception, or fumble. If you are tackled before getting to the 50-yard line and it's in critical mode, the ball will blow up, destroying the robot. Other than some changes here and there, it's kind of the same style of football: throwing plays, running plays, and so on. You can upgrade your robot, making them faster and more durable to do so.
All right, and it's an interesting review there. It's got a real cult following. You may have never heard of it, and that's okay, but it's an incredible game. All right, another thing is that this game was so influential because it had in-game purchases. Now, this is money that you can make as if you're playing and you score touchdowns, they'll give you money. But in addition to that, as you'll see here, you also can add quarters and get better games. So this was the first time I'd ever seen a gaming system ask me, do you want a better pass defense? Do you want a better running back? And if so, put in a quarter and you're going to get a better one. So what you saw there, real quick, and I'll review that with you again here, kind of quick, was that You could get a stronger pass defense for 1 credit, and of course you'd say yes to this, and you'd put your quarter in because you're playing against your buddies and you don't want to lose. And so it was one of those first times I'd ever seen this done. Very influential. And what this shows about our video game is, our video shows about our video game is that you had a game that could see things before they actually are, like they're pretty much the norm now. Like if I want to buy new things in my game, I will do it. It's not a big deal. But back then that was totally like never heard of before. The game was also really, really influential, and it made people frustrated when they created alternate variations of this game on PS2 and different things, and they didn't do a good job of doing 4-person online gaming like the way the console, the way this was set up. This reviewer on this article had the same frustration. He was like, he was like basically like, the cabinet was incredible. However, if the current system is just going to be you just play against the computer, then it's a rating 3 out of 5, or like he wasn't really high on it. Like he didn't think it was great because a lot of the so like he spent $5 on it, and it wasn't really that great. He didn't think it was that great, and it was frustrating because it isn't the way the game was set up. Like this game was not set up to be a game where you just played against the computer. Now there's a game breaker mode on here, and you can do that for sure. But the way what this article is talking about is this is the way the game was set up, 2 versus 2. That's easily done online, and the game makers just dropped the ball and didn't do it. And it's very frustrating to the rest of us who know how the game is supposed to be played, and it's not being played that way. I am now open for questions. So that's the opener, and I'm sorry I went a little bit long there. Normally our speeches are going to be about 2.5 minutes, something like that, so not too long. Also make sure that your videos, any videos that you show, are less than a minute. They're a minute or less. Okay, so don't give me, here's my 15-minute example of this video game. Don't do that. 1 minute or less video games. Okay, so here's the persuader speech. In the game that we're going to be persuading you against today, our opponents have picked the game Field Runners, and we feel like Cyberball is very much a better game. The reason number 1 is Cyberball has 4 players. Field Runners is a solo game. It's only played on your iPhone, so it's really just you.
From Flipperspiel Wonderland, we are checking out one of Adam's pretty rare unit from Atari from 1988. This is Tournament Cyberball 2072. As you can see, it is a 4-player simultaneous game with 2 monitors. So you could have 2 teams battling against each other. You can use both screens. You can have a 4-on-4. You can have a team tournament. You can use one screen. Stuff like that, as you can see.
And that is really, I think, the big thing about it, which is what made us so frustrated when we got the newer updates to it in the 2000s, where they just didn't hold true to what it was supposed to be. It'd be like having Fortnite not being able to shoot or something. Like the whole point of Fortnite is to play a shooter game. The whole point of Cyberball is to have 2-on-2 games, whereas the Field Runners is a 1-person game only. So the impact is just that you're going to get to play with your buddies, and it's supposed to be a one where we would talk so much trash to each other. Playing that game, I mean, it was just so much fun. In fact, a friend of mine has one of these cabinets up in his house in Frisco, and he invites me up there. We go up there and play, and it is epic. We play for like 4 or 5 hours. I don't play any video game for 4 or 5 hours. I do play a lot of Field Runners as well, but I never play it for that long. Reason number 2 is that you can play Cyberball on an arcade cabinet, or you can play it on a game console, either one. And the evidence of that, let me close this one out here. The evidence of that here is actually here's what it looks like on Sega Genesis.
More C's. Where are we this time? Cyberball. Oh, listen to that. Football in the 21st century. Oh, I love it. This game, we really close rules around football. 2 teams have to force their way down a pitch by 10 yards within 4 attempts or down, so American football. by Tengen.
I'm going to forward it to where the gameplay is.
You
can see it's not quite as good at graphics.
Work? Right, let's do a pass. Rope-a-dope, easy money. Bring back yeah.
Ready, set, on.
Oh, Inception.
Okay, and that's a Sega Genesis version of that as well. A little bit different looking, but still sort of the same gameplay. But then again, like Sega didn't do anybody justice because the point of this game is 2-on-2, and you can only play a single player game on this. So it kind of hurt the mojo of this particular game. The impact of this is that Cyberball can also be played on the PC. You can play it on a lot of different places, not only on the arcade cabinet. So it gives you a number of places to be able to play your game. Finally, Cyberball actually has national tournaments, believe it or not. There's one in Las Vegas every year. It has the best Cyberball players from all over the world that come there and they play it. I've seen the online footage of it, and it's pretty incredible. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any of it on YouTube, but it was I get it on my Facebook feed and some other places. But players are really intense about it. And here's just kind of the way it looks to some degree. This is in the Cyberball Championship games. They find they're typically going to be 4-on-4, or they have individual games where it's 1-on-1. So I may play against one other person, or it might be that my partner and I, it's like singles or it's doubles. So it's a lot of fun both ways. I'm sorry. So this tournament shows the impact of this is that it shows that this is not just some small faction of people. It's actually got a pretty fan following amongst people who are football fans, people who are video game fans, all of that. Whereas Field Runners is sort of a dead app right now. I know only a couple people who play it. It's fun. It's a fun bus stop game. You're sitting there waiting for the bus or whatever, and that's fun. But this game right here is one where it is truly an experience with friends. I am now open for questions. Okay, now I'll go on to the closer speech here as well. So you should vote for our team over the other team because it's football with robots and it's totally revolutionary. The impact of this is that it is a game that just blew our minds. We had never seen anything like it when we were 8th graders, and still today, I don't really know of any other games that combine robots in a sport like this in quite the same way, where if it's 4th down and you don't make the 1st down, your robot blows up, literally blows up. So like that is I love the concept. This is you should vote for our team because the 4-person games were rare back then. You mostly had single screen cabinets where it was only one person playing and they took 1 quarter. This is $1 it takes for every single time that you have 4 players that want to play it, or you can be like this guy and just play it by yourself, play against the computer. You can also play game breaker mode as well. The impact of this is that you had a way to get together. Like I would go with 3 of my buddies to Wonderland and we would be sitting there waiting for our turn to play Cyberball, and we just wouldn't leave. Like we would play it for the whole time we were at Wonderland. You should vote for our team because reason number 3, we have a national fan following. The impact of this is that you can tell it's something that's not just local. It's not just a game that some people like, whatever. It actually has people who compete worldwide on it, on these arcade cabinets. And it's definitely one where you can see that it is going to be something that a lot of people like, and I hope that they figure out a better e-game for it, because I think when they do, it will be similar to what a lot of people are playing when they play 2K or Madden or whatever online, where they get that kind of experience where they can play against other people. All right, thanks so much. Okay, this last slide here I used to have in our slideshow, but I'm going to delete that. That's not going to be on yours. You don't have to do that one anymore. But as you can see, this is the project for our class, and good luck with that.